Hello everyone. So today let me show you how I manage my files that I really need to have on all of my computers. So normally I work on just one machine, like my primary machine, which right now is ThinkPad T14. But I also still use my ThinkPad X220. So uh, now I have to work on, I mean, not now, but 95% of my time I work on just one laptop, one primary machine. But sometimes I do have to work on my other machine, and I like to have my files, for example, my org mode files, or maybe my main files that I need to work on. I really prefer to have those files with me. Now, the thing is that the way I work is I don't really uh, I don't really used to have any home server. I mean, I tried it for a while, but then I stopped running it. So basically, I don't really have any home server, or till now, I had no home server running. It could be just one machine or Raspberry Pi, and whenever I needed to sync my files, I just ran Syncthing or maybe rsync to sync it manually. But now I do feel like having some central server, like some home server, which is up all the time, where I can ensure that whenever I log into my other computer, it will immediately, uh, if it is not on already, it will bring those files, my latest files from that server. So the way it would work is my primary machine would, of course, have the latest version of the file. And whenever I, let us say, add a new file or make changes to the file, those changes will be synced with this central server, this home server of mine. And then that home server will always have, let us say, the latest version of my files. That is the idea, and it should happen in the background. So I have come up with a strategy, a simple strategy to achieve this. Now I use Syncthing already because it works really nicely for me, for my needs, and I don't really have a lot of files. I mean, I try. I mean, minus the videos, I don't really have a lot of files, like big files. I don't really think it's more than if I have to calculate, I'm sure it is like somewhere in the range of maybe, let me just check the size right now. So if I do a quick du minus sh on my files, so I can see my core files is roughly 12 GB, which is not a lot, to be honest. So what I am going to do now is I will set up this Raspberry Pi. So I have this Raspberry Pi, an old version, with me, which I will basically uh, plug somewhere, and it has Wi-Fi, and it also has this 16 GB of SD card. I'll probably also insert maybe an external hard disk, because I have like a lot of hard disks lying around. So I'll probably just insert it in one of these USB ports, and then I will keep it running somewhere. The problem with the Syncthing is that I'm not really aware of, or maybe I never really tried it, if you can run Syncthing using command line. I'm sure you can, but I think uh, I think it can be done, but I never really tried it. So I need to explore this. I need to explore how this will work, like having like a Syncthing command line, you know, based approach. So this particular Raspberry Pi will be always on, and I will also probably think of attaching few other things to this Raspberry Pi. Maybe I don't know, maybe a CCTV camera, which I tried for a while, but then I got bored. But it worked really nicely because I was basically using not one but two webcams. In fact, I have this Logitech 922 something, this really good webcam. I have one more, and I also have one old webcam. And I tried it for a while. I used RTMP, I guess, something like that, and Nginx along with FFmpeg based script, and it was working quite nicely. But I still need to figure out how to make it available online. I know I can do some port forwarding, but I didn't really get a chance to play more with it. But for the time being, my requirements have now changed. I now need like a local server where I can host, or basically I can store or take a backup or have my files always available within my local network. In fact, I recently set up one old router of mine, which I was not really using for many years, and I just hooked it up to my main router that has been given to me by my internet service provider. And basically that router would basically have, of course, its own Wi-Fi, but I'll probably plug some devices to it because it is like a different network on its own. So that is what I will try to do. And I am not really sure what is the best way these days to set up your home server. I'm sure there are a lot of other ways, but my requirement is very simple. I just want to keep things basic. I don't really want to run a server to, I mean, of course, Syncthing is an application, but Syncthing is a distributed application. You don't really need to run it on a server. I mean, I can always set up like a Samba server on this, and then I can keep on saving it. My files to that central server, but I want syncing. I want distributed file system, and I don't really have a lot of files that I need to sync. Anyways, it's only 12 GB. Of course, I have videos, but for my videos, I'm fine to do it manually using rsync, which I do. I have like 2 TB hard disk, which I always keep handy, and maybe whenever I feel like, I just rsync my hard disk number 2, and that is working nicely for me. But maybe in future I will think of setting up like some kind of NAS or RAID. I don't know. I never really did those things a lot, but if my needs change in future, I might think about it. But for the time being, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set up Syncthing on this. Again, I don't know if this will work. I'll probably research, but I'm guessing that Syncthing works on command line. So that is the main thing, because this Raspberry Pi is something that I configured to run headless. So this works really nicely, by the way. You just need to plug it in and you can SSH into it, and it is like a proper computer. If not this Raspberry Pi, I also have one HP CPU, which I purchased last year, which, to be honest, I don't really use a lot, and I might just use that one because it is much more powerful than Raspberry Pi. But again, I don't really want to use something which is too powerful for doing something too simple. I just need a place where I can store 20 GB or roughly 20 GB of my files, because I need those files in all of my devices. Even my of course, not only my ThinkPad X220, but some of those files, I also need those files on my mobile phone, and Syncthing works also on mobile phone. And good thing about Syncthing is that you can run, you can keep it running if you want, or you can just run it whenever you need to. But that is what I'm going to do now, and I'll probably share the update with all of you. All right, that is it. That is it for today. Bye bye.